Hello everybody, my name is Mason and today we are talking about Locke and Key Season 3. Before we actually start talking about Locke and Key Season 3, I want to talk about my thoughts on the first two seasons. The first season came out sometime in 2020. I don't know exactly when, but I started watching it during lockdown. See what I did there? I was, brought onto it by a friend who was like, you should check out this series, and I eventually, lockdown happened, so I had plenty of time. Ended up watching season one, and I was like, this is pretty good. I really liked, the whole magic stuff, all the keys. A lot of that stuff was pretty interesting. And so, I watched the first season, and I was like, this is pretty good. It's not the best thing in the world, but I enjoyed it for sure. Season 2 came along last year, and I felt it was a little bit of a step down. I still really enjoyed the characters. That's pretty much what kept me sticking through it. Was I really liked Tyler, Bodhi, Kinsey. I liked all the characters in the show. I liked how they interacted, especially with the whole key stuff. I just found that pretty interesting. But I thought the series as a whole kind of took a step down in season 2. So I wasn't really expecting much of season 3, and it turned out season 3 was actually going to be the final season. So, well, let's talk about that. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I think this season was better than season 2, at least in terms of just overall character and whatnot. I think this really kind of amped it up, and maybe because it was the final season and they had a lot of stuff that needed to wrap together and just tell a great story on top of that. And I think for the most part they did a great job. There was some very good emotional stuff, especially in the final episode, that I actually cried. And I cannot believe I'm saying that I cried during an episode of Locke and Key, because this has been a very, just hit or miss show for me. And it definitely has not been getting me emotional at all. But yeah, I actually shed like 2 or 3 tears, and so bravo to them. But anyway, the rest of the season, I didn't necessarily think the main villain of the series was, or at least of this season, was very good. I mean, it was fine. I just, I don't know, didn't necessarily like it very much. The stuff with the kids, I mean, I think it's better. I don't know. Everything that happened last season with and I'm freezing on his name, the kid that eventually gets, that turned out was taken over by Dodge. That kid. The actor was fine. I just found that so just Dodge whenever she's inside somebody else really annoying. And it's supposed to be that way, but for that whole season, I was just like, ugh. So we didn't really, have to deal with that this season. We had this other demon guy that was inside the Revolutionary War guy. Also, didn't really find him very amusing. I don't know. For me, it just, the villains of the season, each season, is always the weakest part. Yeah, it's just not really my thing. I just really like the whole show for me was just exploring all these new keys that they find and what they could do. I mean, the mind key, I want that so bad. Like, as a student, just to be able to throw books into my head and just have it all there. I mean, come on, that would be amazing. I would just be picking up books at the library every day and just throwing them in my head. But unfortunately, I can't do that. Anyway, yeah. So the villain, I think probably a little bit of a step up from last season, but again, it's just the villains in the show are not very good. Another negative that I would probably say about it is this season seemed a lot less fun. There's not so much, joy and awe in finding new keys, because that doesn't really happen this season. And again, for me, just the great thing about the show is exploring new keys and stuff. And there are some new keys, but it's just not that much fun that's had with it, you know, not a lot of interesting ideas explored that, like I talk about the mind key. In no way would I have thought, oh, just throw textbooks in there and then you'll have them, you know, in your brain. Like, that stuff's great. I want to see some cool, you know, applications with these new keys, but we didn't really get to see that. One of the keys that we see does have some great applications, but not like interesting. Like, it's, yeah, of course you're gonna do that, and it was great, but there would have been some more enjoyable things, I think, more interesting things, I guess, you could have done with that. So that was a little bit of a letdown. But overall, I do think this season was a step up from season 2, and I say it's a great ending to the series. You know, again, this series was not the best series in the world by any means, but I did enjoy it, and I will look back fondly on this series and say, you know, that was a great time. I gotta say, I'm gonna miss it. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on Locke and Key Season 3. Have you seen it? Tell me in the comment section down below your thoughts on Season 3 of Locke and Key. Anyways, till next time, my name is Mason, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.